All righty. He's one of the most talked about men in sports these days. His name is John Amaechi. Played 5 years in the NBA. His travels include Orlando, Utah, and Cleveland. He has written a book entitled Man in the Middle, where John Amaechi comes out and says, yep, I'm a gay, and I played basketball gay. You're laughing, Joe. That's basically it, right?
I'm a gay.
Yeah. Well, but you got a good sense of humor about it. Have you been able to go through this and smile all the time, or has there been anything in this when you open yourself up like this where you go, ah, geez, what am I putting up with this for?
Well, I knew that this would happen. I knew there would be some fuss. I didn't quite realize there'd be the magnitude of fuss that there's been. Yeah. But at the same time, the debate has been, for the most part, enlightened, and when it hasn't been, it's been informative. Yeah. So I think overall I have to be pleased with the results. I'm
going to make you laugh. You ready?
Okay.
You got $15 million in the bank, I guess, right?
Not 15, but yeah.
12 and a half.
I did all right, yes.
My point is, why do you have to do this?
Well, hopefully that highlights the fact that I'm not doing it for the money. I mean, I'm not J.K. Rowling, so I didn't get £7 million in advance money on this. Right. But there is a topic that's important to talk about. I think in the last 3 weeks, people have spoken about gays in sports, gays in society, in areas where they never would have talked about it before. It's been talked about around coffee tables, it's been talked about in schools, on sports radio. It's been talked about in all kinds of places, and it's important.
As silly as this sounds, you owe Tim Hardaway a strange debt of gratitude for keeping your name right out there on the forefront of people's minds?
That's a difficult one. I mean, I think what you have to do with the Tim Hardaway situation and the several other people who've made absurd comments is pull a thread of good out of what they've said. And yes, it has kept it an interesting and lively debate for sure. But the fact is, you have to remember that Tim Hardaway's words right now are bouncing around the world. I've had emails from kids in Australia and Japan who heard those words, and it's had a negative impact on them. It's made them feel less worthy, less human, and more afraid. So
even though Tim Hardaway, like I was saying last week, Tim Hardaway's not an elected official. He's not the president of the United States, not our mayor. Who is Tim Hardaway but an old basketball player? You think, though, indeed, his words did hurt.
I know that anybody who has a pedestal to speak from, whose voice has a reach beyond that of your average Joe, has a responsibility to speak eloquently. And if you cannot speak eloquently, you have a responsibility to shut up.
Okay. Let me ask you something that might be a little tricky, but nonetheless, you can handle anything. Do you ever front? And by that I mean you're a man. You ever like date women just so the players would think, hey, you know, John's one of us?
No, I never did. I didn't make a very great effort to do any of those things. No phantom girlfriends that didn't exist, no attractive model actresses on my arm, no, none of that.
Because you've heard the line in the NBA, it's not the wife on the road, they bring a beard. You didn't have any beards then?
No beards. Okay. No, it wasn't necessary for me. I think I'm odd enough and quirky enough anyway that people have a hard time figuring me out most of the time.
Did you really have to go your own way, or did you have some friends during this time?
I had lots of friends, they just weren't within sports.
Okay.
My friends were all in a circle of people outside of sports.
Did anybody know?
Yeah, lots of people knew. They weren't told, but lots of people suspected. But there's a massive difference between being told straight out and suspecting.
And when I said I should have, mentioned teammates, did they know?
There are lots of teammates knew. Yeah.
And there are, would we be surprised how many, for lack of a better term, compassionate teammates who said, hey, John's doing his own thing, and I respect him for that?
I think Tim Hardaway's comments have been taken as kind of the expression of the NBA, and Commissioner Stern and I myself would both say that it's not the case. There are lots of well-thought-out, reasonable people in the NBA who would not think in those terms.
All right. LeBron James, you respect him?
I respect him as an athlete. I think he's, he's the best. My skills diminish to almost be invisible in comparison to his. However, he's 20 years old or 20-odd years old, and I don't know if he has a passport. So I'm not sure how much of the world he's seen.
All right, I want to set this up. We got a quick clip from LeBron James.
I look at it as a teammate. You know, one thing we have in the locker room is a trust factor, and I just will hope that if my teammate is gay, that he would be honest enough to, to allow me to know that. But at the end of the day, if you can play the game of basketball, I'm all for it. I have no reason to get in anyone's personal life, and I will hope they will stay out of mine.
Any reaction to that? And he's 23, I think, but I know where you're coming from. It's a kid.
I mean, that is more reasonable than the first quote that he gave, but everybody's quotes seem to be getting refined as time goes on. But I think in this world, at this time, it takes more than a shrug of the shoulders to create a welcoming atmosphere.
One of the great things about people who are not enlightened and who have not been around a little bit is they think, well, gosh, I can't have a gay player in my locker room. He's going to be attracted to all the players. Yeah. You've heard that.
I have.
And it's rather silly. Was there ever a player, not necessarily in the locker room, but anybody that you said, I would like to get closer to this person?
No, I mean, it's really difficult for me when we talk about the subject because I'm a reasonable person, and most people are, gay or straight, and I can tell the difference between a romantic environment and a work environment, and believe me, when I'm working, that's all there is. Yeah. I love playing in Oakland, actually, it is, but I love playing in this area, but the fact is that arena is not special when it comes to locker rooms. What I want to do is get out of that arena.
All right. Nice to meet you, my friend.
It's a pleasure, thank you.
And good luck with the book.
I really appreciate it.
That is John Amaechi. We'll go back to the desk.
Well-spoken chap.
Quite an interview.
Yes.
Quite an interview. That's it for us tonight at 6, everybody.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you at 11.